Hello, my fellow weirdos. Well, Senator von Hollen is in El Salvador, and he's doing a bit of a press conference. And there's a delay because there's somebody has to question, and then somebody has to translate it to him. Then he has to answer it, and they have to translate it. Yeah. But here.
In fact, Mr. Abrego Garcia is legally in the United States. In fact, an immigration judge found years ago that it would put his life in danger if he was returned to El Salvador. And so he was given protective status and a work permit. And by the way, that was done during the last Trump administration, the last time President Trump was in office, and they never appealed that decision. So I want to emphasize that President Trump and our Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Vice President of the United States are lying when they say that Abrego Garcia has been charged with a crime or is part of MS-13. That is a lie. And this is a lie to cover up what they did. So what did they do? So they illegally abducted Mr. Abrego Garcia from Maryland and sent him to CETA, which is a notorious prison here in El Salvador. In fact, it's a prison where they say they send the worst of the worst, right? That's where they send the terrorists.
Donald should be there.
Now, the courts of the United States have said there's no evidence to support the charge that he's part of MS-13. So I asked the Vice President whether or not El Salvador has any evidence that he's part of MS-13 or has committed a crime. So I asked the Vice President if Abrego Garcia has not committed a crime, and the U.S. courts have found that he was illegally taken from the United States, and the government of El Salvador has no evidence that he was part of MS-13. Why is El Salvador continuing to hold him in CETA? And his answer was that the Trump administration is paying El Salvador, the government of El Salvador, to keep him at CETA. And I pointed out that neither the government of El Salvador nor the Trump administration has presented evidence to support the claim that he's committed any kind of criminal acts. And so why not release Abrego Garcia today? And he said what President Bukele said the other day at the White House, which that El Salvador can't smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia into the United States.
They're playing word games with us. Nobody said smuggle them in.
And I said I'm not asking him to smuggle Mr. Abrego Garcia in the United States.
Asking you to release him.
To open the door of CCOT and let this innocent man walk out.
Oh, just open the fucking door. We'll get him home.
And I pointed out that the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, has said that the United States would send a plane to El Salvador to pick him up. And why did she do that? Because the Supreme Court of the United States, in a ruling of 9-0, has said that the Trump administration has to facilitate his return to the United States. Now, there's no evidence that the Trump administration is complying with that order. There's no evidence that they're complying with that order. In fact, the United States Embassy here has told me they've received no direction from the Trump administration to help facilitate his release.
They're ignoring the Supreme Court. And they're just trying to
So the
wiggle
Trump
out.
administration is clearly in violation of American
Like he always
orders.
tries to wiggle out his shit.
But that still leaves the question, why is the government of El Salvador continuing to imprison a man where they have no evidence he's committed any crime, and they've not been provided any evidence from the United States that he's committed a crime? So they should just let him go. And they should let him go, and we will find a way to get him from San Salvador to Maryland, the state of Maryland. Because I promised his wife Jennifer, and his mother and his brother, and their family, because he has 3 children. Some of them have severe disabilities. I promised them that I would do everything I could to get him out of CCOT. And I won't stop trying, and I can assure the President and the Vice President that I may be the first United States Senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming. This is an unsustainable and unjust moment. So it cannot continue this way.
I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what exactly is happening. I've asked a few people, and they're under the same thing, way of thinking, that from the way we understand something like that. I mean, even though it wouldn't be considered like a war crime, because it's not done in a war, it is definitely a crime against, humanity, and cruel and inhumane, treatment. And that is not, it would be different if, Bikili was just doing stuff in his own country, and Donald was doing stuff in, but there's no country but their own involved. But when you have one country sending people that weren't given due process, but they're even sending them out of that country into another country, then you get the international law, involved. People, groups involved with that stuff, the Hague and stuff like that. You have both presidents of both countries are guilty, even right now, of cruel and inhumane, undue, to civil rights, human rights. You can't just say, I think you're guilty, and that's it, So, I mean, couldn't both of them be slapped with, like, high crimes? I mean, you're taking citizens from one country, bringing them to another country. You're not looking at anything, just a few things, and just deciding on a whim, oh, they're, and then you send them out of the country before even their attorney has fucking any knowledge of it happening, or their own spouse. Practically, they're already gone. Because that means they could do it to me or anybody else. I mean, honestly. Because you don't have to have, like, brown skin to be in a gang from that, honestly. I mean, you should know that by now. Just because a particular gang is a particular race doesn't mean they all are. Sometimes there's, if you're a biracial person, they'll accept her, so it's not hyperbole to say they could knock on your door right now and just demand you let them in and take you out. It goes on, but I don't think you want to listen to just 30 minutes of it. But if you do, this is from ABC News. It was just live streamed 60 minutes ago. There's 24 minutes. We've only listened to like 10 of it. But it says it's from ABC 7 News on YouTube. Watch live. Senator Van Hollen. And it goes on. Having the boots on the ground is a good thing. Others need to go. I know there was another one that's planning on probably en route now. I think his name was Garcia too. And I know you're thinking, well, what about all the other people? You said 75% of them never had anything at all. And then 22% didn't have any violent crimes. If you don't have if it's a traffic tickets or something, you shouldn't be there, okay? So they said maybe a dozen or two had something a rape or shooting or, something like that type of thing, a manslaughter or murder or whatever. Um, so why is it one person? Why not they're fighting for all of them? Well, because it's like a domino case. This is very clear and it's compelling with the three children, married, happily, a disabled child, and it's a very compelling human story. Not that the other people are less compelling or less important. It just so happens that the way it was done and the fact that the big thing, it said right there in court records, he's on this program. But even let's just say he did a crime and you want to send him, out of the country, you are not to send him back because he could be killed with the gangs there because he refused to join them. That's why he came to America. And of all the effing countries that they could have sent them to, or him to, it had to be that one. And that's why it's a big, big deal. And that's why God, I hope I'm wrong. But I don't know if the guy's alive. Or he might be seriously injured and they don't know if he's going to make it or not. And that's why they're not presenting it. They're stalling until, maybe if he's not unalive, maybe he's just in bad shape. And they're trying to stall maybe until he doesn't look as bad. But they're definitely stalling for one reason or another. And that's why it's important, because you try to use the most compelling case, and once you get, like they have, once they get the one, then the others will be easier to win. Each one. But you get that precedent one, but, and the Supreme Court actually held for justice and democracy on this time. You never know when they will and when they won't. They did this time. I just pray he's okay. I mean, even if he's beat up bad or something, that he's still a functioning person. And that will be okay. Other than the PTSD and the fucking trauma and the nightmares and all the other shit that they've created for him. Anyway, go ahead if you want to check in. It's Senator Van Hollen. So you look that up and you'll probably be one of the first few things is those stories. Have a good evening, and I'll see you later tonight, or I'll see you Thursday morning. It just depends what happens. Anywhere. If something happened and pissed something off in Trump, God knows what we will have in 3 hours from now. But, yeah. And it's very quiet here, and I don't know why. It's not that cold. It's just a little cool, but it's not, seriously cold or anything. And I don't know. It's like 46 degrees or something, maybe 40, 45, 46. So it's not really that cold. It's not, you get little gusts, but yeah, it's too quiet here. And I'm just concerned. I already Sunday lost a neighbor that had to leave before they got picked up because he lost his job. He had a good tech job. He was one of the first to lose his job. And when you're doing it the legal way, you have to get another job within 60 days to be able to stay. And he did get one. He did get another job, and it was like he still had like 2.5 weeks or something to before the deadline was, and he'd gotten the job, so he figured, him, his wife, the kids wouldn't have to move back to Mexico. And I mean, they've been paying taxes all these years. I mean, and he when he went to go do the paperwork to the new job and everything, not the new job, but the paperwork, the fucking bastards gave him this gaslighting story, and he knew that's what it was, but they said something about, oh, well, no, we won't have all this paperwork transferred over and done in time of that 60-day time, so, it. And I said to him, that's not the way. He goes, I know. What are you going to argue with him? Not in Trump's administration. But he actually beat him at their own game. He went and got another job, even with everybody losing jobs. He's that good that he got another job. It's like you have 60 days once you are qualified for a housing voucher, and once your name comes up on the list, you have to find a place within 60. I think it's within 60 days, or you lose your space on the list. You have to go back to the end of the line, and sometimes it's not that easy because places are full, or they're not, they don't have any open because they're renovating or whatever it is. But that's the thing. I found this place, and it was secured, and I got written from them, the whole thing, so it was legitimate. Now it wasn't going to be ready till I had to get out of the one place, because I told them, on the 1st, but this place wasn't going to be ready till the 14th. And that actually would have been past my 60 days for the housing voucher. But it goes by when the apartment was secured, the living space. Now, if you can't get into the apartment because the place isn't ready for you, that doesn't count against you. Once you found the place, like once you found the job, you found the job. If the job is saying yes, it's his, then problem solved. But they're playing fucking games with people, because that's what they did to him. And you all know that's not the way those kind of things work. It's if you secure the job or the apartment or whatever it is, if it's a couple weeks, it's still like if you owe like a utility and you needed help from some of the organizations, right? But they don't get all the funds till about 2 weeks later, okay? Because they're low, but they're getting more. Now they can make a promise to the utility company saying we will cover it, but we won't be able to until this date. They have to accept that. They can't turn your stuff off and say, well, when we get it. No, because the place promised and sent the paperwork showing they will have a check cut on this date. And if that's already arranged before the time is up, it's already done. But no, they're even when people bend over backwards and are able to do everything, they make them jump over every hoop, they still play fucking games. So you will not win. No matter how much they try to do it the way their new way they want to do it. He actually succeeded in beating them, and they still fucking played a game on him. And when you're in that tenuous situation, you can't just start making demands. Not when it's like a government like this, with him in it. So, I know for a fact that that's the way shit's going down. And people are getting the fuck out. Self-deporting, they're getting out before they're taken out, because they won't be taken out if they're from Colombia or from Mexico or or Brazil or any of those places. They won't be taken there. They won't be sent home. They'll be sent to El Salvador. And those prisons are not prisons that you're meant to ever be released from unless it's in a body bag. The fact that the Trump administration actually on those first planes actually had women on there, that stunned me yesterday. And I found that out, and that tells you two things. Even how much more horrific they are. And not only that, they did as soon as they saw they took the guys, but they sent the planes back with the women. And he said, I can't take women. This is a men-only prison. They knew that. They knew that. So do not think just because you're white that you're safe. It's not worth it to bow to them. It's not worth living knowing. What's the point of saving your own life by kissing their ass when you know that's the wrong thing, and that they're just making life bad for you. They're not at least killing you. I mean, when just having a sucky life and pretending you adore somebody is the best part, is the best possible outcome, it's like, why bother being quiet and careful what you say? Because no matter what, if you're going to be on their list, you're going to be on their list. And if you're not, you're not. Those of us who have been speaking out, we've already been speaking out. We've got years of a record of it. No matter how nicey-poo we make now, even if we phrase things in a less negative way, it's still capitulating. You know what I'm saying? It's still folding. It's still compromising. And I do not compromise with rapists, with murderers, with terrorists, which is all that he is. And I certainly don't with Nazis. Sexist, bigots, racist. No. I don't. And I will not say, I'm sorry, I don't, because I'm not sorry. And he's all of those. So, no. I will not be delicate and careful how I say things. I have made graphics, I have made videos that said, fuck you, Elon, fuck you, Donald, and fuck you, Republicans. And I meant it. And I still do. I just pray that this gut feeling is not that he's passed from this earth, and that it's more he's just seriously injured and they have to wait till he heals before they present him, because they're already guilty of high crimes against humanity, both of them. If the guy dies, you're going to be high murder. So, yeah. Try to have a good night. Keep his family and keep all of their families in your thoughts tonight. Send some strength to them, the families, and to the men. Take care of those you love, and take care of those around you that are vulnerable just for existing. I've told the folks around me that if you ever see the the crazy colored haired white lady acting all weird and yelling and freaking out, and you see got people around that are wearing all black and shit. Um, that's probably me thinking they're ICE, and I'm getting their attention and making a big ruckus. I'll even throw myself on the ground and start screaming and help, help. I got stung, I'm allergic, oh my god, you know. Why is that crazy lady doing that? Maybe it's to give you a couple of seconds to, when they turned around and looking at me, you get your fucking ass into that house and get everybody in your house that needs to be. You fucking lock those doors and close those windows. And you stay there and do not answer that door until you are positive who it is. They cannot make you come out. And they can't come in or take you or your phone or anything unless it's a warrant signed by a judge, not signed by some schlock ass Department of Donalds. If it's not a judge and it's written, it's a judge, it's not legit, it's not legal, and you do not need to open the door to them. You do not need to give your phone, your tablet, or your life to them. Just so you know. Same thing if somebody's in your vehicle. You do not have to allow them access. They're going to have to break a window. That's illegal, especially if they don't have a warrant. And I think the Supreme Court is, even though Donald has them in their pocket, I think, in his pocket, I think they're realizing what I've been saying and others, that same thing with Congress. If you don't do your fucking jobs and stop him, he'll take your jobs away and you'll have no fucking way to do anything. And guess what? You won't be at his knee anymore. Yeah. He won't need SCOTUS and he won't need Congress. You'll lose your paychecks, you'll lose your inside trading, you'll lose your health care, and he won't give a fuck. You think he will, Republicans, but he won't. You're just a warm body that has an R on it. That's all. And until you come to realize that, the majority of you come to realize that, you're going to keep bending over and he's going to keep saying, say my name. And you'll say, thank you, Daddy. Can I have more? Peace out.